My Fairlady.
It's no secret that Nissan is collapsing. But it's a shame, really, because not too long ago, they were making cars like this. The Nissan 350Z was a car that won many of our hearts back in the early 2000s. And much like the Lancia Stratos and the Subaru Impreza, it's a car that I've been very fond of since childhood. So, what's the story with this one? Well, although I've never considered myself to be a Nissan fanboy, there's no denying the fact that I've always had a bit of an obsession for this brand. As I've mentioned many times before, I've loved the GTR R34 for as long as I can remember, and I think my love for the Skyline models influenced my love for the brand as a whole. As I mentioned in my Green Machine video, the only reason I picked the S13 Silvia back in 2005 was because it was a Nissan. I would eventually grow to like this car regardless, but it's obvious that the only reason I was interested in it was because it was technically related to the GTR, and the Fairlady Z was no exception. Now, I can't exactly determine if this was the reason why I became interested in this car in the first place, but one thing's for sure, I was most certainly drawn to its looks. Even to this day, this car still looks amazing. When it comes to choice of this car, there are quite a few to choose from. So, why did I choose this one? If you've seen my previous choice videos, you may have noticed that a lot of them are tied to a childhood memory, and the same thing applies to this one. Back in the early 2000s, during a trip to Chicago, there was a mall with a store that sold Japanese goods, including Tamikas. My brother and I were able to choose two of them, so me being the GTR freak, I chose the R34. And for my second choice, I chose this Fairlady Z, racing type. As you can see, they are in fact identical. I guess you could say this is indeed my Fairlady. Interestingly, it also came with this. But we've already talked about this car plenty of times, so let's move on. After its release, the 350Z went on to be featured in various media, and it even starred in things like Need for Speed Underground 2 and the Fast and the Furious Tokyo Drift. It was even in Dirt 2? Hang on a minute. You see, when I first watched my brother play Dirt 2, I was confused as to why this car was featured in a rally game. But the thing is, I had forgotten a very important fact. The Datsun 240Z was a rally star. You might remember this particular Chorikyu from my Chorikyu Madness video, and much like the 350, this one's got a story. Back in the summer of 2005, during a trip to Japan, my mom's friend's husband purchased some model cars from the 164 Daido Classic Car Collection. Unfortunately for me, even though the Hakosuka was included in this series, there weren't any available on that particular day, so I had to choose from one of the ones he had purchased. I can't remember how many he had purchased, but I remember there was a Honda S600, a Subaru 360, a Toyota Sports 800, and of course, a Datsun 240Z. Out of the selection, the Datsun was the only one I was familiar with. Well, sort of. This may have been my first introduction to this particular Z model, but because it was related to the 350Z, I wanted it. Only problem, my brother wanted this one. Now I think at one point the others tried to persuade me to take one of the other cars, like the Subaru 360 because it was kind of cute. And while I was into cute things when I was younger, and even now to some extent, I wanted something cool. And while I may have liked Subarus, the only Subaru I liked was the Impreza, so I just wanted the damn Datsun. Was that too much to ask? Like, I was only 4 years old. I didn't give a shit about the other... Eventually, my brother was forced to give up the Z, and he took the Sports 800 instead. But in my defense, the Datsun was easily the coolest car out of the selection. Except for the Sports 800, of course. But now you know the story. And yes, I was a pretty shitty sibling back then. So when it comes to the models in between, I don't have a whole lot to say about those other than I like them. But what about the later models? Well, I've always liked the 370Z because it was essentially a sportier version of its predecessor, and I like the little fangs on the pre-facelift model. But as for the latest model, well, I don't really care much for it. The problem is that the 400Z, or whatever you want to call it, came out much later in my life, especially now that my best days are, well, far behind me. And I never could get used to its looks. Don't get me wrong, the rest of the car looks fine. But that rectangular grille just doesn't sit right with me. I know it's supposed to be inspired by the 240Z, but without a bar to separate it, it just looks like it has a huge hole in the front. It's certainly an acquired taste, much like the Orochi. Now it seems like the Nissan Z is coming back with a new facelift, and I'll admit, I think it looks better. However, my thoughts on this car are unimportant, because what really matters is the fact that this car was not enough to save Nissan. And I know, it's a sports car, not everyone buys them. It's no wonder why production numbers for this car were low. And let's not forget, with the current state of the economy, you'd be lucky if you could even buy one. But I still kind of hope that this car would have had as much of an impact as the GTR did. Or maybe it failed because, like a lot of other companies, Nissan figured the only way to get more people to buy their cars is by mesmerizing them with nostalgia. Because everything nowadays revolves around nostalgia, whether it be movies, commercials, video games, you name it. And sure, a new Z car was a long time coming, but are we that incapable of creating new things without them referencing something from the past? Tell me something I don't know. Nevertheless, I still find it unfortunate that the revival of the Z didn't help Nissan. But considering the fact they're bringing it back, perhaps they still have faith in it. Either way, I hope Nissan finds a way to pick themselves back up. I've never owned a Nissan, and I probably never will. But they've given us a lot of great cars, and I still like a lot of them to this day. As of today, the future looks pretty bleak, not just for Nissan, but for the world in general. Hang on a sec. Psst, hey. Regardless of how you may feel about Nissan, whether it be their cars or the people who drive them, you've got to give them credit for keeping the Fairlady Z alive, even though they're struggling to survive. As time goes on, we'll start to see less of the previous models on the road. So the next time you see one, take it as a reminder to be grateful to Nissan for creating such a legendary car. A car that will continue to live on no matter what happens in the future. Hey, thanks for helping me with the ending. How can I repay you?
Okay.
ありがとう。